Do you prefer William or Brent?
Brent.
Brent. Okay, well, nice to meet you, Brent.
Nice to meet both of you guys.
I think we're kicking the year off with a bang. You're our first guest for 26. So I like to say that you're setting the bar, but the bar fell off long ago on our show.
Ah, yeah.
We never got to chat with you a while back when Orphan First Kill came out. So I wanted to just begin by saying that that movie blew both of our minds. Like we absolutely adored that.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm literally, I'm on, we just started week 5 of editing the next one.
Oh, can't
Yeah.
wait. Can't wait.
I
That,
did. I've always wanted to ask because the thing that really struck me from that film was Julia Stiles. The first half of the film, I was like, what was wrong with me? Did I think Julia Stiles was a good actress? Like, like, this is terrible. And then the twist happens, which I won't spoil. And I was like, holy shit, Julia Stiles is a phenomenal actress.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think about her all the time when we're doing this one, because she just played everything so straight.
Yeah.
And it's like she didn't care what the movie was. She was just playing a part in a movie. And when she plays a part, she's just, very believable. And it just made all that stuff work so well, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Even though
it,
the film is a few years old, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but like, just there were layers to that first half of her performance that were just fantastic when you strip them back. Anyway,
Especially like if you watch it again or something, it's like, and you watch her in those scenes react, and then you realize she's reacting in a completely different way than she it
yeah,
first looked like.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, she was great. I mean, everybody was that was great. They were awesome.
absolutely. So we wanted
Yeah.
just to start by that because we never got the chance to talk to you for that one. But Lord of Misrule, firstly, it's a very cool title. It's been a long time coming for us down here in Australia. It's finally arrived. You probably thought you were done talking about it by now.
It is kind of crazy. It's what I had noticed recently was Evie, the girl in the movie,
Mhm.
just, blew up this year or last year. So I started thinking about it a lot. And I could feel a lot of energy from the movie from her because a lot of new fans of hers. I mean, she went from 15,000 followers to 2 million in like a week,
Amazing.
from her role on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And but and so yeah, it got me thinking about it a lot. And I keep in touch, especially with I keep in touch with Ralph Ineson,
Mhm.
and so spoke to him about it like a couple months ago. And even Tuppence in the new movie, Stephen Moyer's in the new film, and I mentioned Tuppence, and he had just finished a series with her. They were on like the third season of a series, so it's just such a small world, after a while.
Yeah.
Did you, and I know maybe I'm the only person who does this, but did you ask Ralph to record your voicemail message? 'Cause that guy has the coolest voice on the planet.
He has the coolest voice. You know what? I feel like I haven't done that, and I feel like because, well, I don't really use voicemail anyway. But it's yeah, you let the computer do the voice. And I think the computer changed recently with the new iPhone. And my mother was like, "What is this new voice on your phone?" I had to listen to it. But but when Ralph when you know when they cut the trailer and they just used Ralph's voice from the movie, kind of talking a little bit of expositional stuff, perhaps. It's like a trailer voice or something. So it's like you
Yeah.
got him in the movie. You don't need any voiceover. Like you just hear his voice. It's incredible. I mean,
He's
Well,
he's
yeah,
made for movies like this. What's he like to work with?
he's great. I mean, I'll tell you a cool story from this movie, and I think it's this incredibly cool story for any movie. We had done a movie before, and we always kept in touch. We did the sequel to The Boy together, and then when I went to London for this, or I was like, okay, I'm gonna have him. I'm gonna call him up, and we're gonna, put him in the movie somehow. And the part he played was written as a like 72-year-old woman, who was kind of this witchy woman who was kind of behind the scenes controlling this town, maybe. And we were having a hard time finding somebody who could do all the stuff that character does. And I was going to meet him down in Wimbledon, which is kind of right where he lives. And it was great because it's such a UK thing to go down and he's, you know, introduces me to his pub, which is like his living room. His kids are there, his dogs are there. The whole place is just buying us drinks the whole time. And that's just his life, you know? But, and so I'd had him, I'd sent him the script and I was like, just look at it and see what part jumps out to you. And Tuppence had been cast. So first thing he said, because yeah, I couldn't really be Tuppence, her husband. I think I'm a little bit too old. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. And and then and so he was going to play the Green Man, who was the guy that does the kind of, which he had just been finished doing the Green Knight. So I thought it was kind of cool that he wanted to do that.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, I have a question for you. I was like, what about if you played Jocelyn? You know, and he was like, Jocelyn, you know, like the woman, like the, and he goes, well, let me think about that. And then we talked about that for a couple more hours and I went home or to my place and, and then he called and he was like, yeah, he goes, I want to do this. And he goes, let's think of a new name, you know? And then the next morning, both of us were like, no, we don't really need a new name.
Hmm.
And even like to this day, when I talk about that character, I talk about her as a her.
Yeah.
Like I just do
Yeah.
because I just lived with that character for so long. And and it's sadly, but it was okay. We made up later. But the writer, I called him and he knew we were talking to Ralph to be in the movie. And I said, okay, so I got some interesting news. It's like Ralph wants to play Jocelyn. And he was just like, what are you talking about? And he goes, we don't have any, you know, it's 2 weeks until we shoot or something like that. He goes, and I have to rewrite the whole character. I wrote this female character. And I was like, no, 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 don't change anything. Don't change your word. Like, let him do his interpretation of that character. And it changed into this kind of school teacher and his, you know, the way he dressed and everything. Um, and so I didn't talk to the writer for until the movie came out, pretty much. Till he saw the movie, because he was taken aback, I think, by the fact that, you know, it was like, no, we're not doing anything. But it was, you know, it's such a cool lesson in filmmaking to where when I look at a movie, I don't really care what sex, age, race, anything. It's like if there's a great actor for the role, you know, then let's lean into that. Um, because it just now I can't imagine the movie, you know, any other way. So crazy stuff like that happens.
And what does your writer think of the performance in the end?
He loved the movie
Yeah, yeah.
and you know,
So he wasn't so precious about it. He was really butthurt or anything like that.
right, just, you know, yeah, I mean, I had just seen him the week before and I expected him to be much more involved in kind of the
Yeah,
shooting and didn't talk to him. And but yeah, and it's like that. I mean,
yeah,
you know, it's like when you're doing a movie and another main writer wrote it, they have a lot of opinions after the fact about just the smallest things,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like a line
Yeah.
of dialogue or and but at the end of the day, it really is true that like a movie's written 3 times. It's, you know, you write the script, you write it when you shoot it, and you write it when you edit it. And and as long as you know that everybody has, you know, best intentions for the film, it's like you have to kind of go with it a little bit.
yeah, yeah.
It's
How
tricky.
appropriate is it that his name is Tom DeVille? Like it
Yeah.
really works well. I have to say that Ralph, I don't know if have you ever seen a show called Salvage Hunters? I don't know if it's made it over to the US, but it's like an antiques roadshow type
Oh, right. He
show.
does the voice?
He does the voice, and that was the show. That was my COVID show. So
Yes.
even through the whole film, because and through the whole through watching the film, I kept waiting for him to go, you know. And Rebecca knows that these candlesticks can fetch up to 150 pounds on the.
Yeah. Well, you know, when I go, like we went when I was in London, we went and saw Guns N' Roses together, and they put off a show for 3 years and whatever. And the funny thing is, walking around with him, everybody's like, "Oops!" I mean, some people were like, "You're famous, aren't you?" or something, but then they all recognize him from The Office.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yes.
So that's what like. And then he was in LA a year or two ago, and we went. He was here for one of his voices he does for these big video games. Um, and it was crazy, you know, the way they treated him like it, you know, like it was a big deal just for the voice.
yeah.
And we weren't on the list. I remember he's like, "Oh, I'm not on the list." And he's like, "Well, I'm the voice for whatever." And they're like, "Okay, yeah, go on in, go ahead." Yeah.
Yeah, and he only has to talk to prove his point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's not, and that's the crazy thing about Ralph is like he's not putting on that voice at all. So it's just the way he talks. He
Oh,
doesn't
Yeah.
like go, okay, let me put on my dark, voice. It's just the way he talks at all times. And yeah, they were doing some cool tests around the time we were up there where they were measuring like his vocal cords, or it's a really unique thing that makes his voice sound like that. It's not just, he's good at it or smokes too many
I
cigarettes.
was going to say, you just know he started smoking when he was 6. That's
Yeah, no, it's
oh
something
man.
real. I don't know what it
yeah.
is, but
Ben, we
essentially.
have to get him on the show and just trick him into doing a promo for us.
Yeah. It
All
would
you
be
got to do
so
is get him to say a word every
to,
few
yeah,
sentences, and then we can edit those words together to
Yeah,
get there.
exactly
together,
right.
yeah.
You know,
That's
this
kind of
is this is a really, really like visually striking film as well. And the one thing I love about folk horror movies is that they can be just as terrifying in daylight as they are in nighttime. I'm wondering when you're working with a cinematographer, how do you get them on the same page as you? You know, like do you give them films to reference? Do you let them sort of have some free reign? How does that work?
well, part of it with something like this, especially because I knew because we did this in still a kind of COVID era,
Mm,
and so going to the UK, I didn't really have the option to bring people. So I was like, but I'd worked with a lot of people here and there from the UK, and they were always the best
mm.
actors. I mean, an English actor, they just sound smarter and funnier to me. Just it's like you guys. And
We're not smarter.
But we do
you
sound
sounded,
funny.
but so I was like, I'm gonna embrace this, and really like put together a new crew of people, and it was the best experience like I've ever had. But so a lot of times, the DPs as they're trying to get the job, or are given references. So it starts with somebody that seems to get it first, and Simon definitely kind of got it. And then in talking to him for this movie, it was the first movie I think it's really the first movie I've ever done where I used only one camera, and I loved it. And it just makes it, it just you get really lazy in a way when you have two cameras. And so we just made up a set of rules that was pretty interesting. I don't remember what they were, but it was maybe 10 rules of things more that we're not allowed to do.
Yeah.
So they can't, you have to really motivate a camera move, or a character, has certain close-ups where she can't have anybody else in her shot, but other characters need someone in the shot always. And it was so anytime there would be a question about a certain moment, it would be like, well, wait a minute, is that breaking the rule? And sometimes you break the rule, but it's a very, it's for a good reason. So he kind of just got it, and it's like I think I'm kind of most proud of the way that movie looks of any movie I've done, especially because it was so meticulous the way we made it,
Hmm.
um, and we had freedom to do some really, you know, interesting things that on a movie with even a slightly bigger movie, but not a huge movie, you don't have that flexibility, even though you have more money. So like, there's a great, cool scene I love in Lord of Misrule where she's sitting in the house and we do a 360, like just the camera pans 360 around the room. Um, and the scene was supposed to, the actors all thought it was going to have a lot of coverage, and it was the first time the ensemble of those actors had met and worked together. So they all showed up, and I was like, "No, we're just going to do it in one shot, and and then time it. And I think probably we used the second take. We only did 5 takes, and it was great. And but I knew that I wanted that scene to be like about her and not about all those people, sort of. But it wasn't until right before we shot it that it was like, we've shot some really cool angles of this house, and I feel like what else can we do? And I was like, can we? And then just do this 360. But like a movie I just did it's beautiful, but I could never have done that an hour before we shot the scene and just said, okay, we're doing something completely different. So he was great in that way, and I'm excited to get back to the UK and like make another movie with him. Um, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
You've done a couple of UK set
Yeah.
horror films, and especially something like Lord of Misrule, which is like about it's a stranger in a strange land kind of movie. But
Yeah.
you are also a stranger in a strange land when you're making these. Were there any parallels to the filmmaking versus the like were
For
the
me, for sure, because like everything about that's really novel to me. That type of mythology is really novel to me, and And then going there, we had, as it happens, you do a lot of really cool location scouting from a distance, but then when we got there, I knew that we were going to have to kind of shoot it a piece here, a piece there, and make it look like a village. And and right when I got off the plane, they're like, "We found a village that might let us shoot there." And so we drove right to this tiny, or not tiny, but small village. And so then we shot the whole movie there, and it was like having your own backlot. And then you go to every set and you go to every house and they got these low ceilings and it's super old. And even just being around London in general, and you look around, there's, oh, look at that graffiti or look at that, Harry Potter looking building. Everybody there is very used to it. But to me, it's just all like cinema or art. So, and then the people and the oddness of all those festivals and they had so many great ideas about when we did the festival in that movie of, well, let's bring a mummer band in, which are those people with the bells and stuff. And
Yeah,
they go around and really do that. And we
the
just brought them in
marchers.
and they did their thing. And then we interacted with them and things like that. Like I said, for them, those types of festivals happen in villages all over the UK every year, but I've never seen things like it. And the things that we made up aren't made up to them. Like they're in other places, like the use of fire and things. But so yeah, I gotta believe, and I know one of the producers said this, but I think it was just kind of bullshit. But it sounded good. But for me, it was true. But it was like, yeah, we wanted an American to bring in an American sensibility or point of view to you know,
Yeah.
what would normally be a very British story. And so I gotta believe that. I mean, I know for me, it made it fun and every little thing was exciting because it was new.
Yeah,
Yeah. I just
oh, sorry, but I was
sorry.
just going to say some of the best Australian films have been made by Americans or British that have come here and sort of, told our story from their perspective. You should come down
Yeah.
here and make a movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like a dream place to shoot, and the kind of things that they were doing, they still are, obviously. But like Blum was doing a lot of cool, smaller kind of horror things there. They did what was it, Upgrade, and
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
did
that's
they
our
do?
hometown. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and did they
So
do Invisible Man there?
I think so. We're like a
yeah.
little Hollywood these days.
Absolutely, and
Big like
it's
Mission Impossibles and things like that here.
yeah. I mean, and you get the best, just the best people. So
Yeah. We have very generous tax incentives, so
That's right.
it does help. But I was going to say that I felt really sorry for Matt Stoko in the film because I don't think there's an interior scene where he got to stand up straight because those
yeah,
those ceilings are so low.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I was
I mean,
watching the door frames and I'm like, I'm just waiting for the outtake reel on the Blu-ray with him just banging his head every time he goes through a
but
door.
I'm short, and it's like I have outtakes of right before a take, I might run in and say something,
Yeah.
come out, and then as I'm running out, boom, and I mean, they're tiny, and like the room upstairs in this film with the older woman having the kind of freak out in the bed. It seemed like a good idea to shoot up there because wow, it's so cool. But I mean, those rooms are each as big as
Yeah.
a small bed, which becomes really hot and hard to, move around and put a camera in there and stuff. But it turned out good. But it's like so many things about it, like they'll just like a bar is 700 years old and
Hmm.
or um, can't even imagine the kind of stuff that's going on there. I mean, right in the middle of the town is this big like whipping post,
Yeah,
like for witches when they used to like, that's
yeah,
right in the center
Yeah.
where all that festival stuff happens. It's famous for that. Again, I think a lot of places like that have that. So,
hmm
but
Yeah.
to me, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. This is our town's torture site.
Yeah,
Welcome tourists.
Australia's
yeah, and
just not old enough to have them. That's the only reason we don't.
We don't. Yeah.
yeah. You don't have those in any way.
No, I don't think so. We're only
No,
200 years
no
old.
cool ones. Yeah, no
Yeah.
cool ones like that. We've got like there are massacre sites and
Yeah,
stuff like that. Like we've
yeah.
got all our own, our
Tragic histories and
our,
stuff
our
like
yeah
that.
our indigenous population did not fare well when the
Yeah.
when Captain Cook and the first settlers came across. But
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
they kind of they just built over all of that stuff. It doesn't exist. There's no
Yeah, we didn't preserve any of
preserve any of it. Yeah,
Yeah, I think the one in this town right there by the little pond in the village square. Village Green is it's got a little tiny rope around it, but I mean it's only 4 feet wide. And you're like, oh, that's quaint. And you kind of look at the plaque. And you're like, oh, they burn witches here.
Well,
That's
Ben,
cool.
we do have a nightclub called Village Green, so
This is close. I wonder if they've got, and they probably on certain nights they have a whipping post.
yeah, that's,
Yeah, it just it's they're only invite only though. That's
that's
unfortunate. The only
right.
unfortunate thing.
Um, I want to pivot for a moment and just talk about some more generalized things because you strike me as the kind of guy that's just been passionate about film right from the start. I'm wondering, were there movies back in your childhood that ignited your love, your passion for film, and made you want to pursue it?
Well, I don't know, want to pursue it. I mean, you know how it is. It's kind of like we're all fans of stuff. It
Mm.
doesn't necessarily mean I thought I'd do it. But but yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's kind of typical stories in a way. But it's true. My parents divorced when I was like 6, and then kind of what they did. When I saw my mother every other weekend, she would put us in front of movies. My dad, all he really knew to do was to put us in front of movies, and they both are really passionate. My mother's acts, in like community theater. My dad's just always been really passionate about movies, but but they were always kind of movies that like were on late on television that you shouldn't see as a like 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Um, and great movies like The Other, which is a horror film set. It was like a 1974 horror movie. It was on like this late night TV about these two twin boys. And it's just one of those movies that stuck with me my whole life. And that movie, Trilogy of Terror,
Mm-hmm.
if you guys know that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The Zulu doll one. Like my sister showed me that, and it was like on, you could just watch it on late night TV. And, I thought until I was like maybe 9 years old or 10 years old that if I dropped my feet down on a couch and let them dangle, that
Yeah.
he was under there with a witch and he would cut my feet off at the ankles.
Yeah.
And I remember really kind of believing that,
Mm-hmm.
and and so there's movies like that. I mean, it's like,
yeah. So I can't have a tree outside my bedroom window thanks to Poltergeist. Like to
you
this
do or you
day.
don't.
Yeah, I can't. No, I don't want. No, it freaks me out.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right though. Like that tree in particular.
Yeah,
Um, God, I met that guy years ago. Oliver was his name, who played that part. Freaked me out, and the doll, the clown, everything.
yeah,
But so many movies, and then for me, and they all revolve around this era of, when I was dealing with kind of being a latchkey kid or whatever. But like I thought of Peter Sellers. No coincidence, as my dad's favorite actor, so I love Peter Sellers and Steve Martin. Um, and then, like I said, it was a lot of kind of dark, scary stuff that I kind of probably attribute to my older sister, as her way of kind of babysitting me when nobody was around. Um, and so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm still kind of trapped in that time of being inspired by those types of movies that I first saw. Halloween. I mean, I'll never, forget that first Halloween movie, for
yeah.
whatever
You,
reason.
you, you never forget the films that first traumatized you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Like it's yeah,
Yeah. I mean, my growth was stunted, when I was 10 years old. And, but I mean, like you can, and I think a lot of kids, it's that way, right? Is like when you're 10-ish years old, you start kind of seeing more real things and paying attention. And then all of a sudden you look back at your life and go, wow, all the things when I was 10 are the things that I remember the most.
yeah.
And that's definitely the way it is for me. I mean, so many movies, Kramer versus Kramer,
Yeah.
about divorce when I'm in 1979, 1980 or something like that. But
Yeah.
yeah.
The only thing that kind of upset me is that because it never came true was that when turned 14, I wouldn't look like I was 21. Like in all of the it's kind of movies. You look at the babysitter, and you're like, she's dead. This
What's
woman's
wrong with me?
yeah.
Why am I not growing up?
Why do I
And
look
it's like,
like a
oh, he's
baby?
Well,
35 years old.
Yeah,
well, I'm with Brent here because my growth was stunted when I was 13, and I wonder if that's why I don't really like long films.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I'm short.
yeah.
I think Ben, you had some questions to pivot on, yeah?
Well, look, I did want to ask because we've been talking off mic a lot about the BFI's 250 greatest films list that they kind of do every couple of years. And I'm trying to figure out what transitions a film from being a good film to the greatest film of all time.
That's interesting.
So yeah, we all have films that we love and adore and think are the greatest films of all time. So, but what do you think? What is the magic ingredient that turns that film from a good film into
Damn.
the greatest film of all time?
Well, but I mean, to me, I mean, isn't it maybe just as simple as like longevity? You know, like whether they hold up, whether they reflect their time period or not, but they just hold up and you're like, yeah, that's a great movie and it's
Yeah.
always great. Like it's easier for me to look at it from the other perspective. Like when I did Stay Alive, which is, kids play a video game, they die in the game, they die for real. And and I was really inspired by The Last Starfighter. And The Last Starfighter, as a kid, again, 1983, 4 or something like that,
Mhm.
um, it seemed like a really cool movie and it was always on cable. But then when you get older and you look at it, you're like, it doesn't really hold up. It's
I,
cool, doesn't really hold up.
I'm
And doing
still waiting
Stay
for.
Alive,
I'm still waiting
what?
to be. I'm still waiting to be called up to fight Zurg and the Kodan Empire. Like that hasn't.
Can you believe they never is the guy that created it like has hung on to the rights to it like and he's gonna die with them, I guess,
Yeah,
because
he
they've
keeps he
never made
keeps
that
he keeps
movie.
promising. He keeps promising another one, and yeah.
I mean, what a great, and so it's kind of, and doing like Stay Alive, I was like, that's what I want to feel like is when somebody's in their 20s, they think back to that movie when they were 14 and go, I have this real soft spot for that movie. And you might watch it as an adult and go, but the great movies, you'd watch it as an adult and you're like, oh yeah, that is
It's
really
still
good.
great. Yeah,
you know? And, you know, like Star Wars is crazy to me, always was, but just because I don't know how they made it look that good.
Mm,
yeah,
The year later, Flash Gordon, came out, and I love Flash Gordon, but it looks so cheap and
kitschy.
shitty.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but like Star Wars to this day still looks as good as kind of any good science fiction thing, unless you're mixing it up completely. Um, so yeah, the kind of
I
test of
mean,
time.
I dare say those two, like Star Wars, like a lot more, I guess, love and passion was poured into it as opposed to Flash Gordon. Like I feel like Flash Gordon was made more of a quick turnaround kind of let's get a sci-fi out
And
as
let's
a
I
not
think
forget
you're
that
right.
the entire second half of the film, it's a different guy playing Flash because they had a falling out and they had to replace him. But that movie, how much of that movie is just made by Brian Blessed's voice?
I mean,
Like
I love that movie a
it's so
lot.
good.
But I mean, but it's a movie you laugh with,
Yeah,
every little bit of it. Um, and those sets, I mean, it's you can hear them, you can see
yeah,
them shake, as they
yeah.
walk.
It's so
Which is kind of if it was on purpose, which it wasn't, but I mean, if it was really kind of on purpose, if you look at those original Flash Gordons from the like 50s,
Yep.
and
yeah,
they had the weird shaky, like on a fishing wire spaceship, then I'm like, oh, that's what they're doing. But it
Yeah.
just was, I don't think they were that sophisticated then to try to
yeah.
do a movie
Well,
that was that retro.
yeah.
Um,
Not with the
I
Daredevil
mean,
Princess budget, I think.
then
Would
the
have.
music of a movie like that, which was
Yeah,
completely batshit crazy to have Queen do the score, but I
yeah.
love it.
You can see that
Um,
Ben there has like he lives in a world of VHS behind him, and I do wonder if he has Flash Gordon in the background. But I do know for a fact you would have to have Flash Gordon in the background, right?
Well, I've got Flash. I definitely have Flash. That's around the corner
No,
somewhere.
but you've
I've
got
got
Flesh.
Flash.
You've got it.
I don't know if I've got Flesh or I've got Flesh Gordon too, because Flesh Gordon, unlike Flesh Gordon got a sequel.
right. What a
Awesome.
bummer. So anyway, you asked me about the 250 greatest films of all time, and
Yeah,
talking
name
about
them.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
Well,
What would sit in your 250 greatest movies?
Name them all.
I mean,
No.
well, being there is one of those movies to me.
Masterpiece.
Um, I mean, if you look at the list, I mean, it's a different type of what you consider it to be like great. It's
Yeah.
like I realized, and this was a while ago, and so I don't know if I think it anymore. But for a long time, I realized that The Professional was my favorite movie. I was just kind of like, "Oh, I love that movie." Then I was like, you know what? That's my favorite movie. And and usually you can't say that.
Yeah.
Um, and maybe because over the years, Natalie Portman's kind of made it sound like it was all a bit
Icky.
sordid.
Yeah.
and which I'm not surprised because his other things were sort of. So that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a great movie.
Plus, the
on
director's
some-
cut does sort of wade into those sort of murky
Exactly.
areas, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's, and he, not, yeah, it's not, he was doing that. And
it is a great
his
film.
girlfriend was the 15-year-old prostitute in the opening scene, and all these crazy things. And
Europe, right? Europe.
Yeah.
yeah.
Gary Oldman in that is amazing.
It's just, yeah.
So
And I think even hopefully Natalie Portman, maybe 10 years from now will kind of go, you know what, that really is a pretty cool piece of art that she made. And I mean, we can't, there's just always every once in a while a young actor who comes on the scene like that and blows everybody away and then has a career for the rest of their life. It's,
Man, I think what she did in Beautiful Girls is some of the best work she's ever done when she was only like 12 or 13. It's incredible.
Yeah, that was
Funnily
right
enough, it's a similar thing though, isn't it? No one mentions that about Beautiful Girls.
Yeah, that's right. That's even ickier.
Totally falls in love with her.
Yeah.
Because she's the coolest person on the planet. You're like, age doesn't have that much to do with it when you're just that fucking cool.
Right. But it does.
Unfortunately. Yeah. But it just becomes a bit awkward. Yeah.
I don't remember who directed that. Do you guys remember who directed that?
Jonathan Demme, I think.
Jonathan Demme.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think he had a clean record.
Yeah, he did. He did, yeah, for sure. It's not as like we're making it sound like it's really bad, but in the film it's
completely chased. It's not
he knows right from wrong and he distinguishes it right there on screen.
He doesn't he still ends up with I can't remember who his girlfriend
We just live in a world where we have to actually make these distinctions right now, otherwise we'll get ourselves in trouble. So maybe we should
fine, everybody.
No, but thank you so much for making time to sit down and chat with us. We're really glad that you're the first one out of the gates for the year. So awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And everyone gets a chance to watch Lord of Misrule now in Australia. So
I think that's incredible. I'm excited to find out what everybody thinks.
When we bring a child into this world, we vow to guide them through the darkness and lead them towards the light.
To the harvest! To the harvest! Cheers! Who do we call?
I don't know where Grace has got to.
Greg!
Grace!
Greg!
Grace.
We just have to let the police do their job. We're not alone in this.
They'll have your chiddler back in no time.
My daughter went missing. I need your prayers to be a guiding light. Now, please, pray with me.
No. Your Lord does not have your child.
Then who has taken my daughter?
Every year we drive him out. But he stands in the fields and waits.
Who stands in the fields and waits?
Grace.
Galogorn's a spirit of the land. The feeling you get that you're never alone. The demon didn't take Grace.
These people are sick.
You afraid, Rickard? He's here.
All is as was.
They know where Grace is.
He has your girl. And in return, he will give us great miracles. Time to revel in chaos.
You're gonna get our little girl back.
This is how we love. The midnight sun will rise. And you will see his glory.